Hello and welcome to the channel. We've already done a no commentary gameplay of one of our early sessions here of Dungeon of the Endless. And with the free weekend, which I actually didn't know about prior to our upload of that playthrough yesterday, we're going to take a look at each of the games in the series because we actually happen to have all the games in the Endless series. And this is, well, easily now my second favorite of the three. So we're going to take a look at this here. As I said previously, or commented rather previously, was that we've had this game for a while actually. We just never bothered to play it. And that's a shame because this is a real treasure of a game. As far as roguelike games go, this is really phenomenal. It's got a great system in it. The character unlocks, you can unlock the actual identity of the character by just locating them, meeting them in the game, and then of course you need to survive with them in your party for 3 levels to unlock them to be able to add into your party anytime you want. Now, you have your different starter ships, which have mostly effects on your party size, and of course you'll have some other effects over here as well. So you'll see we pretty much have everything still locked, I believe. Some of these increase your party size up to 4, obviously. Basically because the game, even on easy or too easy, has actually been fairly challenging. So we'll leave it on, actually we're going to go down to too easy to give you a quick look through here. Normally I play games on the highest difficulty we can, of course, but for giving you an idea of how this game actually plays out and whether you should pick it up on the discount weekend, obviously you want to play it yourself first, but there's definitely some knowledge to be had here. Now we're going to leave these as default random characters. Each character has their own strengths and whatnot, and their own abilities and equipment sets. So you will have, there's accessory slots, there's armor slots, and there's weapon slots. Usually it's up to 4, which we'll show you here. Or sorry, up to 3 on this guy. And not all of them will be the same. Some of them will not have a weapon slot, some will not have an armor slot, some won't have a device slot. Now, this is interesting. This is the second time I've had this. The dog that is with the trader in the game will randomly be picked as a character for your party. Of the about 15 games I've played so far, I've gotten it twice. I don't really have any math on it. Obviously, you can't give him any equipment. What we have here is the level up system. Obviously, it levels you up, increases your stats. It shows you a nice preview on the stats page, and it will do the same for equipment in your backpack and inventory. So it'll tell you what the increase and decrease on your stats is going to be. So you're going to get all the information you need readily available right in front of you. Level increase is certainly something you want to consider early on. It's going to make a lot of difference. Healing costs food as well, which is what you use for leveling up, and you're going to use a lot of food for combat on the higher difficulties. Restore, I have not had yet to use it, but basically it resets the cooldown on your abilities. And of course, dismiss, they give you a portion of food for dismissing them from your party. You can only have up to 4 characters in your party total, so you'll end up cycling other characters out. Now, these characters also have backstories to them. As it says here, this one born of the 7th month of the 7th month of the 7th month. Quite amusing there. But these backstories will also expand into stories that will progress between levels. For an example, this particular guy here, I believe it's Butcher, one of the other starting characters has a backstory with him, which, as you'll see, it tells you here. And between levels, there's a dialogue between these characters that unveils what exactly their backstory is in relation to each other. And in fact, by the time I got to think it was to the 8th floor, between the elevator, the 2 characters who have a hostile relationship between each other ended up going to blows on the elevator, and one of my characters was killed, which was unfortunate because I had them well equipped, and all that equipment was lost. So, you've got to worry about what the actual relationship between your characters is as you go throughout this dungeon. Alright, so we'll go ahead and select our party here. Very simple, old school RTS controls here. You click on your character and you can do control 1 through 4 and so on to set which one will select that character. So, of course, we set 1 and 2. And we do shift 1 and 2 to select them both. Tell them both to open the door. Now, the way time is measured in the game is there is, of course, the real-time element of when you're moving around in the rooms you've already been in. Now, They also have another form of marking time, which is when you open a door, and that triggers most of your events and helps cycle down your cooldown. So when we activate this, it's going to give us the attack power and speed bonus. The duration is going to be for 7 seconds. That's what that little clock symbol will mean there. And the cooldown is going to be for 2 doors. So we have to open 2 doors before that ability is ready again, or of course leave the floor, and then it will be reset. Now, you have up here your dust, and then of course your measurement of how many rooms you can open. You need to accumulate more dust through various different actions and exploring rooms to get more rooms that you can power. That's what dust is for. Now we just used the middle mouse button, take the power away. We've got up to 3 rooms we can power here, and we add it back. Sorry, zoomed out on the map. And of course when a room is powered, nothing can spawn in it, and you can use the utilities in it. So what I like to do is to just drop down an industrial generator right away before you open your second door, because that will increase the amount of industry you get per turn. And of course your other generators will do that for each of their feature as well, the default being obviously 3. Now, you have industry, you have science, and food. Food we already went over. That does basically character development. Science is for research. You will research up to tech level 4 for your generators and your weapons and your other utilities that you can build in these little tiny spots here. And then of course industry is for actually building. Now your merchant options vary. It's going to be randomized when you talk to him on each floor. Basically, sometimes he'll want you to pay in food, he'll want you to pay in science, he'll want you to pay in industry, or even dust. And of course, dust, if you're not careful, you won't have enough power to power all your rooms because you can sell all your dust and buy items with it. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and go into the next room here. The dog is awesome. He has a little mallet. Alright, so your characters will automatically fight and loot as needed. Now we can just click on this, or we can right click, close it out. We can right click on the character, open up the character menu, and equip it. It gives them 3 defense. But your characters will pretty much handle all the actions needed in the room, unless it requires you to make a serious decision like invest this amount of this resource into it. They'll handle that on their own, so you don't have to micromanage their actual actions. Second room with a chest, that's a good find. See, you'll get a lot of stuff like this, like a rapier. He can't use a rapier because he uses machine guns. So we can sell that, we can discard it, or we can hold on to it for the next character. Now, you have another main pad here that we can place another generator on, and I like to go ahead and place a science generator next. You'll see that the generator cost increases with the number of generators you have. At first it was 20, then 25, then 30, then it'll be 35, and so on. Alright, so we will go ahead and go into the next room. And each time you open the door is when you get another tick of resources. Now this, you see the blue effects here? We use our power button. It tells us it's powered by Mysterious Force, so it's a free room. And that is great. You can zoom out and you can see the map or the door indicators on the map real easy. So you can use that as a quick way to check to make sure that you've explored all the rooms. Your research is also measured in rooms and doors opened. So you're going to want to make sure that you trigger your research before opening any doors, as you don't want to waste those doors. I did find out that if you trigger a research, which normally takes 3 doors to do any research, and you only have 1 door left on the actual floor, you open that door and you go to the elevator, you'll complete the research. It'll finish for you. Now you're probably wondering right now why I don't throw another generator down. That's because your resources carry with you to the next floor. And this is your elevator right here. This is the guy we wanted to find. So basically the gist of every floor is you move this to your elevator. But as soon as you pick up your crystal, every room, whether you open it or not, will start spawning monsters unless it has power in it, and they will continuously come at you. So, on top of that, your character carrying the crystal is not going to be able to use weapons. So you pretty much have to pick who you want to ferry your crystals about. That's food right there, so that'll give us extra food. Go ahead and power that up. But anyways, like I was saying, the resources here, they will carry over to the next floor. So just doing these easy floors like this, mostly gathering resources, it's a good idea to do at the start. As you see this here compared to what we already have, it's already done the math. So we lose 2 speed, and then of course we only gain 6 defense compared to the shirt he already has and the 60 HP. Definitely a better increase for the guy who's already way slow. Pretty much the slowest character I've encountered in the game. It also has a really high attack. Go ahead and send him back in here. Now, your different creatures have different attack patterns. You can watch the health up here. But your different creatures have different attack patterns. For instance, those that went after the hero obviously target heroes. The other one is a particular mob that targets the crystal, so you have to protect that crystal. You lose the crystal, you lose the game. And of course, as it takes damage, it loses dust, rather. And then you lose the ability to power rooms, and you'll lose your generators and further out rooms and whatnot. Alright, 6 guns, also a gun that cannot be used by anybody in my party currently. So we will continue onward. Now, not every door opening will trigger a spawn. I unfortunately did not figure out exactly what the difference in between triggering a spawn and not. Typically, it does appear to be related to whether it has monsters in it already. So we'll go up here and we'll heal our little doggy a couple times. And we are leaving him back here to basically guard the home front. Now, at the end of, well, killing, basically call it your combat phase, more or less. The end of killing all the monsters that have spawned on your map after opening the door, your health automatically fills back up. Now we will actually go ahead and invest in him leveling up 1, and him leveling up 1 as well. Now, of course, obviously it does tell you when you've opened the last door. Send the dog all the way back here to help him fight. There we go. Alright, so let's go take a look at this here. And basically what this is your research node, science thing. I don't know what it's actually called in the game. You can see the different options here, and then of course you can reset it and it'll randomize what you get. The dust field gen is fairly decent, and the bioorganic is pretty good as well. I've not used the sea blaster at all, really. And of course, food replicator would definitely be good to have, but of course, since we cleared the floor, we cannot start the actual research on it. Which means, had we found this in an earlier room, we would have gotten that level 2 food generator. So we're going to send our dog down since he's much faster. And we are going to pick a few spots here. Throw down some guns. Now, what's interesting is that everything will cost the same industry to build regardless of its level. So with it's level 1, it's going to cost 3. At level 4, it's still going to cost 3. And anything you place that you research up will level up to its current research level. So if we had another door and we were 2 doors down on researching to level 2, as soon as we hit that door, these would all become level 2. Alright. And we'll put them in here as well. You're probably wondering why I'm only going here, because we look at this, we can see where we've got everything powered, so we can take power out and add it back in. So all of this is powered. These are the free rooms, and those are the ones we've manually powered. And of course, those are the rooms that are not powered. So we tell our doggy here, pick it up. And he gets all excited, so we tell him just to run straight for the gen room. Or the elevator room, rather. And then we'll take this guy, move him further up. And you see that exclamation point tells us there's creatures moving through there. You don't always get in all the rooms, of course, but it gives you an idea of where they're spawning through. And their behavior definitely changes when you're moving the crystal. They generally follow the same practices. There are mobs that are also designed solely to target your small nodes or your large nodes. We're finished here, so we'll go ahead and hit exit. That'll take us on to the next one and carry our resources over. Then it gives you your breakdown here. A little bit of commentary. This is where you're going to see your actual character development here. Sometimes you get multiple dialogue pieces, sometimes you only get one. So we repeat the process here, of course. And you'll see how he just goes up to the machine and starts to activate it, and we get an extra 7 production out of that. So we look at this, and we're pretty good on production industry right now, so we're going to go with food for this particular point. And basically what you want to do is just pick one direction and go with it. Now this is one that's going to give us multiple options here, or rather a cost that we can choose or not. Now we've got a lot of power out of that, which is good. And we'll go ahead and throw down a industry piece. But a lot of times you won't get anything out of those because you'll find them fairly decent amount of time. And different variations thereof, cryogen tubes and whatnot. And you'll also find other heroes scattered throughout as well. In fact, once you start hitting level 3 and further, you'll probably find almost one per level. And lastly, just to balance it out, we'll go ahead and throw a science one down as well. Now, the best pathing you can get is basically a long, linear, ropey, like, section. Put that first aid kit here. That gives him a new ability. And of course, you have your Pack of Dogs ability there, which not every character has. Basically, you have your passive and active abilities, as it does say here. But as you progress, the maps get larger. You don't have enough power to manage everything, so of course you want to make sure that you're picking the right doorways and not opening up multiple doors at a time. And some characters will have bonuses that will actually increase things. Like there's a particular character, if you have Endless Legends as well, there's a character you get in Endless Dungeon here that will increase the effect astronomically, or obviously, it will increase the effect of your generators basically considerably. It's going to be a huge benefit. So basically, you'll leave that character next to the generator because every turn they have to remain at the generator to give that bonus to the one generator that they're at. And that will give you a huge payout overall. We're actually going to go ahead and level them up again. And as they level up, they'll unlock more skills. Now see, he gets a plus 0.2 to food by every monster he kills. So he's going to basically farm a lot of food for us. A neat thing about the series is that they stay consistent in a number of features. The 4 resources are present in all games in the series. Your food, your research, your industry, and your dust, which often serves as currency in the other games. And of course, the Endless as well, which is a lore feature within the game. So once you get the hang of, well, obviously they are different game types, but as far as Endless Space and Endless Legend, once you get the hang of one of them, you'll have a good time with the other. Or it'll be easier to get with, the understanding for it, rather. So, as you see, our research should carry over. So we'll go ahead and start our food processor, or generator rather, to level 2. Need to send our dog out. Now this is one of those characters, or mobs rather, that is solely based around targeting the crystal. And you'll see a lot more of those. Now you'll see other mobs with their own special abilities. Yep, we get an extra character here. Spin the food. Now we have 3 guys in our squad. Assign our numbers, which you don't need to assign numbers, that's just in case you do like I did earlier and mistakenly assign them all. By default, they'll be 1, 2, 3, 4. If you have 4 characters, or basically from left to right. Of course, you can assign them any way you want, and that's a good way to correct it if you mess it up like I did. Our food replicator has been researched, so we'll send our... Well, everybody's going to end up going back this way, it looks like. That is the elevator there. Good. We'll send the dog to go ahead and start it, because he's faster. Let's see. Yeah, we'll go ahead and get the emergency generator. Yep. No remaining closed doors. Oh, we did finish it. Okay. This is the first time I've actually finished one with all the rooms powered, so let's see how this works out. Go ahead and put that shirt on him. The rapier. And then we can exit. And you can get an idea of their sense of humor here. It's pretty good. Well, I like it anyways. Alright, so we'll go a little bit further into this floor here. Take everything we've already went over. Pretty sure you guys will have a good grasp on the game at this point. Now you can of course fill it up with extra generators, and it really only is that beneficial if you have a large number of rooms. Ah, yes. Alright, so these crystals are various different beneficial effects so far, and some of them are only activated when a certain character is in your party. Now this one, it doesn't tell us that it needs a particular character, so it's automatically activated. And it lasts for a duration of 4 doors. Now these will always run on door duration from my experience. So basically we just open up a door, we get the bonus, find another one. This one also doesn't seem to be based off of a character. So we will go on to the next door. You see how the health decreases based on how many doors it could survive, and of course how many of those doors have been opened since it was found. The timer doesn't start until you actually find it. No, we'll actually stick with what we already have. Now, just because you have a piece of gear that is the same gear, say, like if we got another piece of chitin, it's not necessarily going to have the same stats. At least I have found some weapons that had the same name and icon and had different stats. Ah, here's our merchant. So this time he wants to trade in dust, which means we can increase our dust by selling the items we have to him, or we can decrease it by buying items from him. Now, these are all fairly decent items here. Definitely give you some good bonuses. But we're actually going to skip on it just because it's a dust merchant right now. And that is a hefty price to ask for. Because remember, decreasing our dust also decreases the number of rooms we can actually power. We do need to get a science generator up. And of course, I'm sure you've noticed by now we haven't had to use any of our abilities yet. You likely won't get in many situations where they're going to be overly necessary until it gets to a point where you're just going to be overwhelmed and then you'll be spamming your abilities left and right. Unfortunately, that is a slight drawback in that regard. Yeah, there's no real slow progression into getting used to using your abilities as you level up. But it gets pretty intense in those situations, so you'll be grateful that you have it. Go ahead and throw some weapons down since we don't have any power for that room. And luckily, what it looks like what spawned in there is hero targeting. So that means we didn't have to worry about them going for the crystal. Now, one of the neat things this has that a lot of these games are lacking is the basic controls. We're going to send them all out this way. Alright, so the basic controls, WASD, that you'd use in most every first-person shooter, or first-person or third-person action game, is, of course, used to navigate your camera as well, so you have that natural feel that you're used to with most games. And that's just a really great feature that a lot of games that are top-down overlook, whether it be roguelike or strategy, is having that set up by default. Of course, we'll go ahead and set our emergency generator to research. And we'll open the next door. Now, if you have any mobs that target the, like that one there, or he's targeting the node piece. Heal him up a little bit just in case. Alright, so basically they will destroy those science research stations as well. And that can become a huge problem, obviously. I was hoping... Yeah, we were going this way. I was hoping we'd get a map that looped around to give you a few ideas. Say, for instance, if there's a room right here connected to both of these, and we had gone south at first, we could loop back around and up here, unlocking that room, without having to unlock this door right away. The added benefits to that would be that that door would still count as a timer piece if you opened it, even though you had both sides of it explored. And secondly, it also would reroute all the monsters to go around. So it really helps out in planning your defensive measures as you expand out, particularly when you have issues with power, as we're starting to have in this level here, where we just don't have enough power to power all the rooms that we're opening. And we'll actually go ahead and level him up to catch up. Now, I do like to keep a pool of food available for healing, because when those situations get bad, it gets real bad. Take our dog and send him back to queue up another research. You'll find multiple research pieces throughout the mid to later levels. And of course, that means you can start one research per node. What did we find? Another prison uniform, okay. Alright, so you'll have multiple researches, and of course they will count their own each time. As you see, we only had one door left, and it completed the research for us. Throw that down there. Alright, so we'll move back over here. Okay, so we've got 3 rooms up to the elevator that are completely dark, which we can take care of. We'll go ahead and just remove those 3. Remove that, throw it there, so that puts all of our hostiles coming out of here, which is fairly easy for us to counter. Of course, our dog is still the fastest character in the pack, so we're going to pick him. See, that'll give us 3 rooms of guns we'll have to, or they will have to fight through. Our really slow character, we're going to send him up ahead. And then this guy's going to hold up here. Just a quick react in case they're fast enough to catch up to our dog. You notice there's a character decrease in speed on the animal, or anything that's carrying it rather, as you pick up and carry the crystal. We'll tell them to go over there. And yeah, we should be good. Alright, so you see those guns will just peck at them until they leave the actual room. And by the 3rd room, a lot of them are going to end up dead. A few of them will get through, of course. But there's enough distance, because of the way we rerouted the power, that we are out of here long before they get close enough. Now, you will get dust from killing monsters as well. So, once you kill them, you'll need to send somebody through the room, if they're not killed by heroes in the room already, to pick up the dust. Well, I think we've pretty much covered everything here. It's definitely a great little roguelike game, so if you like those games, or you like randomized, quick adventures that you can stop and pick up at any time, it's definitely worth getting, and there are benefits to having the other games in the collection, so I hope you guys enjoyed it, and of course, as always, have a good day.